For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Along with the man they call Meathead, Dave Hero. Fish is behind the glass producing the program. I'm Frank Cosentino. It feels nice in here.
It smells clean in here. Hey!
We are at our new studios here in downtown Milwaukee. But new pay-per-views, one that just ended and one that's coming up. So we got a lot to talk about this evening.
The king of the segue, Frank. Good job.
I give it a shot. I try my best.
Did you see me roll my eyes?
Yes.
But hey, it's a segue nonetheless.
We will talk about Turning Point, which happened a couple nights ago. Survivor Series is coming up this Sunday. Some news going on both in TNA, also in WWE, just little tidbits here and there, getting you ready for the pay-per-view, then coming out of the pay-per-view. Of course, we want your thoughts on what just happened and what will be at 414-276-ESPN and all over the world at 800-990-ESPN. PWRshow.com. You can hit the chatmosphere, and we'll also send in your questions through there.
Yep, you can send your questions through the chatmosphere. You can give us a call at the phone numbers. You can always hit us up on the Twit. You can always hit us up on the Facebook. You can hit us up wherever you got to hit us up. We got Dave Hero, we got Frank, we got Damian floating around somewhere. We got the Fishman producing the show. We got a brand new studio.
I believe Damian is on the line. Let's hook him up. Mr. Nelson, good evening.
Frank, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
You know what? I couldn't be any better. I'm in the world's greatest city, Las Vegas, Nevada, standing in the middle of the Flamingo where it all started.
There you go.
Mr. Bugsy Siegel. What a show you guys are going to have tonight. As you said, TNA Turning Point this past Sunday on pay-per-view, an amazing matchup between Desmond Wolfe and Kurt Angle. And actually the main event as well as a three-way dance lived up to the expectations of what it delivered some 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's from what the people in the blog all over the place, they've been saying that it was a pretty good pay-per-view. And Dave, what were your thoughts?
Best TNA pay-per-view to date.
Dave Hero said that?
7 years?
That's what everyone's saying. Well, hey,
Dave Hero said that?
Listen, I'll be honest.
Dave Hero
I
said
didn't see it, but that's what I've been hearing. From the
hey,
boys.
You're a broadcast journalist. How could you not have seen it?
Opinionist.
Oh, I keep forgetting.
Yeah. But some of the boys in the back, they were very pleased with the pay-per-view. They thought it was great. Dixie Carter is ecstatic over it. And, overall, I may have to order the replay.
And that is going to be the question. What will the numbers be like when the actual results come in of this pay-per-view? How many people did buy it, and how many people were intrigued by it?
Yeah, but how can you judge what happened actually with the pay-per-view? The numbers are going to be off. We're not going to see really good numbers on this because, you know what? Nobody knew that this pay-per-view was going to be that good. Now, granted, you may see the spillover into ratings. You may see the spillover into the numbers for the next pay-per-view. But this was a shock to just about everyone that it was going to be that good.
I think, if anything, you'll see the ratings increase on TV because with everyone talking about how good it was, it may stir up some interest to watch the show on Thursday night.
Yeah, but the job of the company is to make people buy it. So once you see how many people actually bought it, they need to create intrigue before the event and then deliver on the event. So if they did create enough intrigue before the event, you will see an uptick in purchases. I don't expect to see much of an uptick, but they certainly did deliver some marquee matches on this pay-per-view, at least in concept, and then the execution was nearly flawless from all reports across the world. Also, big news about Brock Lesnar. There was just a UFC fight last weekend here in Las Vegas, and Brock Lesnar suffering from some fairly serious health concerns. I understand you guys are going to enter discussion later about his championship status in the UFC, and also discussing, speaking of the UFC, Shane O'Mac. Here comes the money, maybe, to the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
And it's more than just Shane O'Mac. Also, it's been rumored and now been confirmed that former WWE Canada president, Carl DeMarco,
who resigned from the company after a very long time, just a couple of months ago.
Yes, also involved in a meeting with Dana White.
Hey, guys, this can be huge, and I think we talked about it on a recent edition of this very program where we said that this could be a very smart, strategic move by World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah.
Meaning they couldn't have gotten into it under the umbrella of WWE, but why not branch out using Shane McMahon? And keep in mind, he could be doing this solo as well, but with him acting independently, while I still think there'll be stigma from coming from that family, but him acting independently, the opportunity for the discussions has continued. And we all know that Shane was the big proponent of mixed martial arts involvement in WWE for a very long time, even when talks got serious a couple of years ago, including announcements on WWE.com.
Right, but also at the same time, a lot of people in the UFC world don't want Shane O'Mac involved because they feel bringing the fake wrestling to the real MMA fighting is just going to, you know.
That's a good point. There's a transition period there that's going to be interesting to see if the fans kind of, oh, wait a minute, this is Shane. This is real now.
Yeah, also Shane's going to book himself in a pay-per-view, you know, against Randy Couture or something, you know.
I tell you what, to his credit, Shane McMahon's been very smart over the last couple of years. His involvement in WWE has been minimal. So I think there might be a little bit of distance there between him and World Wrestling Entertainment where it could be viewed as at least somewhat legitimate. There's going to be your naysayers and your detractors, of course, but I tell you what, here's what it could help as it pertains to the UFC, which, quite frankly, doesn't need much help because it's a cash cow. But people like me who have been finding a reason or trying to find a reason to get into the ultimate fighting and mixed martial arts now may have one if Shane O'Mac is involved.
Well, and also Shane O'Mac brings a different marketing perspective to it, the global marketing that Vinnie Mac and company have done so well.
Right.
Maybe the UFC has been lacking or they need.
And you talk about done so well. This past Monday's edition of Raw, just last night, I mean, I'm not sure if there's been a better produced show. And I'm not talking about necessarily what happened in the ring. But from beginning to end, that show just showed their top-notch production qualities and delivery qualities and treating something special.
I got to disagree with you on that, and we're going to be heading towards a quick timeout here, but I got to disagree on that, Damon. That show was very flat.
What?
I'm telling you, in this person's opinion, in this guy's opinion right here, the man they call Meathead, that show was flat. It was very hot as far as the crowd, production value. What was there? There was only pyro for DX. That was all you had. And then there was a little itty-bitty video door.
Because they sold out so many seats, they had to make more room.
I understand that. They do that at Madison Square Garden. They did it for the Rumble that Cena showed up in 2007.
I thought the show had a pay-per-view feel to it.
I would agree with you, David. I would absolutely agree with you.
But there's nothing worth watching.
And we knew the new opening was coming and the new graphics, obviously, to accompany it. But, I mean, it just absolutely, it blew me away, to be honest with you, the show overall and how they treated it. And Roddy Piper's involvement, obviously, was good. Seeing Vinnie Mac come back out for a little while on Raw was good as well. I thought it was a very good show this past Monday. But to that point, it's their ability to produce and ability to put on top-notch products that could certainly be beneficial to the UFC, as you said, David Hero. Before I go, actually, I've got a meeting down at O'Shea's casino. David Hero, Blizzard Brawl 5 coming up December 5th. We've got some new videos available at PWRshow.com featuring ODB and Tracy Brooks. Actually, as a matter of fact, you can find those videos easier by going to BlizzardBrawl.com. And I think second row I hear is almost sold out.
Almost sold out, yes. It's going to be the show of the year.
It's the WrestleMania of independent wrestling, I hear.
ODB, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Mick Foley, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, Al Snow, Armando Estrada, Demolition, King Kong Bundy,
Anderson,
Kenny Anderson. How can we forget him? Headbanger Mosh. Yeah, it's the show of shows.
And Frank's taking a bump.
Frank is taking a bump. That's just him walking up the stairs.
Guys, you have a great show. I have no worries with Frank Cosentino, the Cos, large and in charge. Just keep everybody in line there. And actually, David Hero doesn't need to be kept in line, if you know what I'm saying.
You got it.
Absolutely.
You guys have a great show, and we'll see you. I think we're on again next week, Tuesday, perhaps. But we'll have that information at PWRshow.com once it becomes available to us. A brand new edition of PWR Interactive on television tomorrow and prime time on Friday, where we preview the Survivor Series along with our top 5 Survivor Series moments.
Perfect. Damien, stay safe and safe travels back.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back, we will go through Turning Point from last Sunday. We'll take your phone calls and much, much more. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
This is Kevin Harlan. Listen to Sunday Night and Monday Night Football all season on 540 ESPN, your NFL primetime home in Milwaukee.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. The man they call Meathead, David Hero. I'm Frank Cosentino, sitting in for Damien. Who? Yeah, who? No.
Frank, you look like you're sleeping.
I'm doing good.
You look better than Roddy Piper did last night.
Good.
That's for damn sure.
Goodness. We will talk about what happened at Raw last night.
How is that a swing? It's kind of confusing, Fish. Were you turned on by his kilt?
He's my hero, all right?
Okay, I got you. Hey, if you're hot, man, say you're hot.
We will talk about the Raw that was last night. We'll also take your phone calls at 800-990-ESPN. Locally here in Milwaukee, 414-276-ESPN. We're also talking about what happened on Sunday at TNA's Turning Point. But let's knock down these phone calls. We will start with Brian from Texas. Brian, you are on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Yes, sir. A couple of things. Two things. One thing about Maurice. I heard that she's coming back this Monday. I wonder if that's true. I heard it online.
Brian, she got fired.
No.
Yeah.
And did you hear it online as in you were listening to an audio show?
No,
I'm just messing with you, Brian. I'm having fun. Good times.
Yes.
No, but seriously, she was fired. She's done.
What Dave Hero is doing is what's called pulling your leg, waiting for the silence after that.
Pulling my leg.
Sorry, Brian. I just had to. It was there.
He's screwing with it. We don't know anything more than you've heard on the internet, so we'll take a look and we'll see this Monday.
Yes, and then what does Brock Lesnar have? I heard that he was released from the hospital.
Well, I'm not sure if he was released. From what I've been told, is he's had a severe case of diverticulitis, which is an inflammation in the intestines.
Yeah.
And from what I'm told, can be extremely painful, and if not caught at the right time, you can lose a lot of blood as well. So, fortunately for Brock Lesnar, he was able to get the right doctors at the right time. He had a surgery that I guess has been successful, but according to Dana White, he is not out of the woods yet.
Yes, and I also heard that his career might be over. I hope not, but I like watching him in the UFC.
Well, if his career's over, he still gets to go home to Sable every night,
Yes.
So I guess he'll be just fine.
Yes, and then one more thing. What you think about this Monday, Jesse Ventura hosting Monday Night Raw?
As long as he's not the governor.
Yeah, and we will talk about that, Brian. Thanks a lot for the phone call. Yeah, we will talk about a special 3-hour Raw this week, the Thanksgiving special, as I guess they're calling it.
The return of the gobbledygooker.
We will talk about that.
We're going to wear that button out, Fish.
We will talk about that in a moment. Let's get back to the phones, and we'll go to Glenn in Orlando. Glenn, you are on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Pretty good, Glenn.
Dave Hero, welcome back.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be back. Meathead unlocked the door so I could finally get in tonight.
Hey, we're in a new building, man. This place has got security.
And congratulations on moving into a new studio.
We're like thanks. George and Wheezy, man.
2 questions for you.
I'm George. He's Wheezy.
I have 2 questions today.
Fire away.
What do you think of the idea of turning Finlay heel and then have him team up with Sheamus to face DX in a rivalry?
DX is awfully high, lofty aspirations.
But they could bring them up easily.
You know what, though?
It's not a bad idea on the surface.
Green on green.
The only problem with that is DX is going to want to go over. They're not going to want to put over 55-year-old Finlay. I think the way they're taking Sheamus right now, what they're doing with Sheamus right now is great. They're taking their time with him, and they're going to establish him slowly. I think if you put Sheamus in the ring with DX too soon, much like what they did to Eugene many years ago when Eugene was just white hot, when everyone was loving him, they put him in a main event match with Triple H at SummerSlam and killed him off. And I think that's what happened with Sheamus right now. I would love to see Sheamus in a program with Jack Swagger.
The problem right now with Sheamus, though, is why does King have to help get these guys over? It doesn't do anything for him. And you can see, obviously, King is going to have a match with him next week. I mean, he's done it with Taz. He's done it with Santino.
Because they want to establish Sheamus as that heel. And
but
everyone loves
help
the
anybody.
King. Well,
nobody. No. Not everybody loves the King.
Well, I would say the majority do. So that's the reason why they're
51-49 is the majority.
Nah, I'd go 75-25 on that. He gets a good pop still when he
Who
comes
else
down.
right now could he beat up that it would mean more than beating up the King?
I don't know. One of the girls.
Oh, they're not going to do that. They're PG now.
I know, but you asked the question. I gave you the answer.
Okay, well, but that one's not going to happen. So right now they got to go at the King, and I see big things for Sheamus.
Glenn, you got one other question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys want to talk about it now or later, but do you think that no matter what Taker does, because it's Tombstone Power Driver Cena last night, do you think that no matter what he does from now on, he can never be a heel?
No, I don't know. I mean, because, all it takes is for someone like to be a baby face like Rock or Steve Austin where Taker would turn on them. But I thought it was interesting how the main guy from SmackDown tombstoned the main guy from Raw to end Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was rather interesting.
It was interesting. It was a little twist. I kind of liked it a little bit. And Glenn, thanks for the phone call. We will talk about Taker and how that evolved into Survivor Series.
Raw, yeah.
When we break that down. Well, we will take a break, and when we come back, we will get to other phone calls. We'll also, again, talk about upcoming Survivor Series and much, much more. You are listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We'd like to have you join the program at 800-990 ESPN. Locally in Milwaukee, 414-276-ESPN. Again, we will go through our thoughts on Turning Point from a couple of nights ago. Survivor Series, one of the big, you still call it the Big Four.
We do.
For WWE, their pay-per-view coming up this weekend, and then a special 3-hour Raw coming up on Monday with the governor, Jesse Ventura.
As long as he's not an active governor and he's supposed to be governing the state, I'm okay with it.
Yep. It'll be interesting. We'll talk about all of that, but let's continue on the phones, and let's go with Elliot in New York. Elliot, you are on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Elliot. Thanks for holding.
Yeah, I got two questions for you.
Boy, everybody with the two questions. That's okay. Go. What's up?
Well, first off, I was wondering, after this Sunday's Turning Point, how do you feel, with all the, very competitive, nice-paced matches that went on this Sunday? How do you think they can ride this momentum they have with the match performance and also with the development of the characters for the next month or so?
That's a good question.
Well, there is momentum based on, with Hogan coming in with a very good pay-per-view.
Hogan not coming in until after the first of the year.
Right, but they did show a video footage of him.
Yeah, they're showing videos every week.
There's going to be lots of Hogan
people coming back every Thursday, besides the Hogan thing, because they're going to keep anticipating Hogan. Won't now that they see these characters and these storylines and these matches now, won't it keep them now?
You know what? Seeing Jim Neidhart last week on Impact, that'll bring me back every week.
What?
Yeah.
You think it's going to be
Wear it out
this week?
Oh boy, I have no idea.
Kamala.
The Mauler?
No,
Kamala.
Frank's favorite.
Kamala?
Kamala?
No. I don't think, poor guy, he's a nice guy, but I don't think he can do much in the ring anymore. Yeah, there is some momentum, but it's all on, how they market these wrestlers, and thank you for the call, Elliot. Momentum in wrestling I guess you can call it after a major pay-per-view. You get a spillover if there's something that, really amazing happened and people are talking about it.
But really, what's TNA's major pay-per-views besides Bound for Glory and, say, Lockdown?
Slammiversary?
And Slammiversary, excuse me.
From this pay-per-view, is there momentum? It's hard to judge, don't you think?
But is Backlash one of WWE's major pay-per-views? And there's always a good momentum coming after that.
From this pay-per-view, though, as Elliot was asking, do you think there could be some positive momentum? There are people that tuned in.
Yeah.
Hey, this is maybe Hulk will be on. They don't know. So they check it out. They see some wrestlers that maybe they haven't seen in a while.
The only way they're going to build momentum is by having good, successful TV taping.
Yep.
Impact has got to be solid.
Let's continue on the phones and go to Steve in Heartland. Steve, you are on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Steve.
Welcome, Steve.
Speaking of Turning Point, I did not catch Turning Point after Impact last week. I actually muted the whole program and listened to your radio show from the Tuesday before.
Okay. Well, thank you for enjoying it.
Yeah, it was a lot more entertaining from what I gathered than what Impact was. I'm hearing a lot of positive feedback off of Turning Point, so it seems, but from reading what happened, maybe the matches were very solid, but you'd put Desmond Wolfe in and you have him losing his first match.
Yeah, I didn't like
As predicted by Meathead.
What's the point of that? I mean, they bring this guy. He's got to get rid of that jacket, by the way. They put him in.
That jacket's actually a big piece of who he's supposed to be. You have to understand that jacket.
Alex Wright had the same jacket.
No, that's not Alex Wright's jacket.
What is it?
That jacket actually has to be, kind of like a anarchist type jacket. I mean, if you think about the British youth, they all wear those jackets.
I suppose. But I didn't understand that, and I read what happened in the pay-per-view, and Nash mentioning Hogan with the whole Eric Young thing and stuff, and it just seemed like to be the same old. And I quite honestly, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to look forward to with the way TNA has been going lately, and it's kind of disappointing, but. I mean, they have some decent, solid matches on the programs, but with everything going the way it's been going, it just seems like it's a rerun. I don't know.
Well, I mean, not as much of a rerun as WWE, obviously, but, you're seeing more AJ. You're seeing AJ versus, like Daniels. You're seeing AJ versus Samoa Joe. I mean, that's the kind of stuff. That's what people, enjoyed seeing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I agree, and I mean, I don't. The reason, they looked to be some okay matches on the show, but I mean, they were all pretty predictable from what I gathered. I was that triple threat pretty solid match.
That was from what we are all hearing and seeing was the match of the evening.
Okay.
So again, it is what it is, and there's both sides of the table. There will be people that just will not like TNA regardless of what happens. But there are the people that are giving it a shot. If you watch this pay-per-view, maybe you have a little positive thinking towards it, and you'll look and watch some of the regular shows.
Oh, I'm a regular fan of the show. It's just been, I don't know, just seems to be repetitive after a while. And one other thing I wanted to mention is with ECW. No, I heard you guys talking about Sheamus earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Daywalker?
What's that?
The Daywalker?
Yeah. and I really, really like Sheamus a lot, and I was really hoping they were going to push him harder on that show, because it seems whenever anybody gets a good push on that show and becomes popular, they move to Raw, and then they die in the mid-card like Evan Bourne and some of the other guys. In your opinion, would it not have been smarter to put the title on him, build him up as a champion, and
kind of like they did with Swagger?
Well, Swagger never held a.
Wasn't Swagger ECW champion twice, actually?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't very memorable.
It was once or twice, but Swagger was champion.
What they're doing with Sheamus is the right way. They're going to start him up.
And
slowly.
Steve, thanks for the phone call. Appreciate it.
They're going to beat up. He's going to beat up all the undercard guys, get to the mid-level, and then eventually, if things come together, he will get a main event push.
What would you give him Are you giving a push now?
Right now, he doesn't need a belt. He just retired Jamie Noble.
He needs TV time.
He just put the big boot to
Absolutely.
Jerry Lawler.
I think
he needs TV time is what he's getting.
He's getting a good push, I think, right now. So it's up to the fans, though, that will make it happen or not. Let's continue on the phones and go to James on the north side. James, you are on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey,
what's up, James? North side of what?
I'm around the Cleveland capital.
Oh, so Milwaukee. Hey, all right. What's up?
Oh, I have a couple of things for you guys.
All right.
A couple of things from Turning Point and a couple of things from going into WWE Survivor Series.
Okay.
My first thing is going into WWE Survivor Series is what's the point? Why should I order this pay-per-view? Why people are liking this product? It's stale. It's not cool no more. Like, I grew up
because
watching.
you've been programmed to watch it.
I think the only thing that would make me want to watch the pay-per-view would be seeing Undertaker versus Jericho versus Big Show. That's a unique enough for me to say, I really haven't seen it at a pay-per-view for a belt. I would watch it for that. I would watch it for maybe to see Kofi and Randy Orton go at it some more. Because
but you steal your
altercation-
pay-per-views anyhow. So you
No,
go for
I don't.
free.
I don't. The pay-per-view is worth watching for me to see Kofi and Randy go at it again because the altercation they had on Raw was hot, and Kofi cannot be any more white hot than he's been right now. Kofi is on fire.
Right, you're basically paying to see these two go at it, but for like Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and John Cena, like
you're going to see the beginning of Shawn Michaels actually going heel on Triple H. Prediction by Meathead.
Right, I see that too. It's so predictable. DX is done. It's no more. It's boring. It's not like how it used to be back in the Attitude Era. It's basically a kiddie thing. It's for the kids and it's for the merchandise.
It's for the merchandise.
It's all about the glow sticks.
You're absolutely right, and that's all WWE cares about. They don't care about the fans no more like they used to. Like, you see the crowd, they don't pop like they used to. I remember back in like 2002 when I went to No Way Out to see Hogan, like it was like a mosh pit where I was sitting at. And now, like when you go to the WWE event, everybody's sitting down, everybody's being polite. I remember seeing a guy in front of me, saying a couple of swear words or whatever, and seeing this one security guard come up and saying, "Can you calm down and not say, bad words?" And the guy replied saying, "What is this, Disney on Ice?" So, I mean, I just don't get why people are calling in about, still liking the product. I just don't see it no more. And then my other thing about TNA Turning Point, it was a solid, great pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's not one bad thing.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Okay.
And people call me a TNA mark, which I just don't see it. I'm a wrestling fan. I like to see good wrestling matches.
You've been through our counseling session.
Well, then you must also be going to Blizzard Brawl then, right? If you're a wrestling fan, there you go.
All right.
And so, like, almost every GLCW show there was. So
Fantastic.
All right, James, thanks a lot for the phone call. Appreciate it. So far, the response for the TNA pay-per-view is positive.
And I'm happy about that. It's nice.
Because it's good for business.
It's great for business. Hopefully that they can capitalize on this and make good TV next week and the following week and the week after that and go into the pay-per-view with something that's going to be compelling that people are going to want to buy.
414-276-ESPN, 800-990-ESPN are the phone numbers. Your thoughts on Turning Point, your thoughts on Survivor Series coming up. We'll take your phone calls, and let's go through some of these matches real quick that happened at Turning Point. Start off with the Amazing Red. They defeated Homicide to retain the X Division Championship. Yeah, it wasn't that shocking, was it?
But you know what was shocking,
shocking,
and this is brought up actually, is the fact that it was one-on-one. An X Division match. That was one-on-one, not 3, 4, 5.
Well, it was kind of a handicap match.
7 other kids in the match at once. So, Don West needs to take a bump. I think that's what's next.
It could happen. When we come back, we'll continue with talking about Turning Point, Survivor Series coming up this Sunday, your phone calls, and much, much more. We're broadcasting live from the Time Warner Cable Studios in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. You are listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
This is Prince Fielder of the Milwaukee Brewers, and you're listening to 540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Like to join the program, you can. 414-276-ESPN all over the world at 800-990-ESPN. You can head over to PWRshow.com right now also. You can join the chatmosphere and all the goodies that are going on there. Tons of news. Obviously, Turning Point just ended. Survivor Series is on the way. We're going through the results of Turning Point. We talked about the Amazing Red defeating Homicide. The Knockouts, ODB, Tag Team, well, let me see if I got this correct here.
ODB, Sarita,
Taylor Wilde
took
on the team of the
Madison
beautiful
Rain
people.
Right.
Madison
and they got
Reigns,
the win.
Velvet Sky, Lacey Von Erich.
The LVE.
Right. All the titles were on the line, Frank. It was the Broads title.
Yep.
And the Broads tag title.
Wow, it's the Knockouts titles.
I got to set
you
up.
ODB's going to be here in a few weeks.
Hey, I'm not
and
the
I'm
one
going
that's
to tell
afraid
you
of her.
called her the
It's
broad.
Frank Costantino. And
I
you
have
know
every
what?
right to be afraid of her.
When you tell her that I'm the one, I'll say, hi, I'm Frank Costantino. You're talking about that guy over there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sell you out. I just want you to know up front.
I'm going to get knocked out.
Hey, I want to tell you up front that I'm selling you out.
This
so
match,
you're a pimp, is what you're saying?
Yeah, and I keep my pimp hand strong.
this match, thumbs up, thumbs down.
The women did what they had to do. I mean, it was a...
Thank God they didn't put the belts on the blondes. Not that I don't think that they're worthy of it, but Lacey Von Erich is not
Lacey
ready.
Wrestling. Yeah.
Yes.
You're right.
So, and it's good to see that ODB is going to have a little program coming up with
Tara.
The other knockout match,
Mm-hmm.
Tara Rison.
Yep. The British Invasion defeated Beer Money and the Motor City Machine Guns.
They're not that bad of a team there, Frank. Come on.
As Damien likes to point out, the British Invasion, a.k.a. Spirit Squad 2010. And Damien's next big thing, Rob Terry, is still hanging with the champs.
Now, this bout saw Kevin Nash come out and have a little thing with Eric Young. Did it fit?
Well, it's a way of trying to end the whole Nash-Eric Young Legends title deal, where he's going to get over on Eric Young and the World Elite, tease the return of the NWO when he mentions the band's going to get back together again. Can you imagine that? Hogan, Hall, Nash, X-Pac showing up in TNA? That'd be hot.
It won't be.
Why not?
Do you want to see it for a third time?
Of
in
course.
a different company again?
How many times have we seen DX?
I didn't want to see him the second time.
Oh, come on.
I'm not involved
but
in
here's
the merchandising.
The thing, TNA could never sell the NWO T-shirt. So who knows what they'd have to, call themselves? The band?
The band.
Yeah.
Them.
Right? No, I'm kidding. I don't want to see Hall, Nash, X-Pac, and Hogan together. But you know that they're going to tease it for quite a while to try to, gauge if it's worth bringing any of those guys back in or not.
In the six sixes of steel cage.
666. Dave Hero needs to talk to Frank about being evil. It's the 6 sides of steel.
I'm reading what I'm reading. 6 sixes of steel cage match.
6 sixes of steel. Where are you reading
Tara
this from,
defeated Awesome
Frank?
Kong after a huge splash. Surprised or not surprised?
I'm surprised you can't pronounce the match.
I'm reading what I'm reading.
I predicted Tara to win. I knew she was going to win. She has to win. MMA fighter, Tara, battling the ODB.
Yeah, that's a typo, Frank. It's not that. It's a typo.
It's what it says, okay? Let's go to the phones before I screw up more. The yakety sax, that's all I needed. Let's speak to Ahmed in New Jersey. Ahmed, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys. Ahmed,
do you know who the yakety sax are?
Not at all. No.
That's okay.
All right.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
How come CM Punk doesn't have his own Survivor Series team? The guy was champion, kicked out.
Same with Christian.
What?
Same with Christian. He is champion.
That's true. But can you guys know anything about this whole that whole thing that happened a month ago with the whole European tour, Punk getting in trouble, whatever that thing was?
Well, it wasn't really Punk getting in trouble so much as it was Punk, I guess, not acting like a professional is what it was rumored to be. Punk dressing like...
Well, no, what it was is that
Punk.
he talked back to The Undertaker. Undertaker pulled Punk aside and said, hey, listen, when you're on the tour like this, you need to dress the part, look like you belong, look like you're a champion. And he looks at Taker and says, John Cena doesn't. If Undertaker pulls you aside to smarten you up, you better do it.
You better listen.
So quickly, I doubt Punk is still being punished. I know he was fined, I think, a couple $1,000
That's
or
probably
whatnot.
a kangaroo court type deal, though.
But that's what happened there with CM Punk. But let's face it, since his match with Undertaker, he's fallen off the radar.
Buried.
He was a good transitional person. You know what? they invested a lot into him with Jeff Hardy, and it's a shame that they weren't able to go any further with it. But let's face it, CM Punk versus The Undertaker, it's a no-brainer. It's The Undertaker.
Right. Ahmed, got anything else?
I will not buy Survivor Series.
You will not buy Survivor Series?
Nope.
Well, let me guess. It's because Maurice isn't on it, right?
Yeah, because Maurice is not on it, yeah.
I knew
All
it.
right.
Go look for a blast zone.
There you go. Ahmed, thanks a lot for the phone call. We come back. We'll talk with Jackson, a couple other callers trying to get in, and much, much more. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. 414-276 ESPN, 800-990 ESPN are the phone numbers for you to join us. Talk about TNA's Turning Point. We can talk about the upcoming Survivor Series, which we will also. And anything else that's on your mind, let's find out what Jackson is talking about. He's in Wichita, Kansas. Jackson, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Yeah, I got a couple questions. First off, perhaps the greatest wrestler to ever step in the ring.
Dave Hero?
Ric Flair.
Ric Flair, yes.
Yes. I know. I've heard he's in Australia, but at the same time, I want to know what's going on with him because I've heard rumors about TNA, WWE, something to do with management. I want to know what's going on because I know Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff are going towards in TNA and going towards management part of it, and I think that's a good part on TNA because what Hulk Hogan and what Eric Bischoff screwed up in WCW, they can learn from going towards TNA, helping out TNA, and second off, the old territory type stuff from way back in the past, they can help out the new wrestlers that are coming in as far as that. I think can share some knowledge. What's your take on that?
Well, I think they can share all the knowledge they want if these young kids want to listen, first of all. I go and second of all, Ric Flair just got married again last week, his fourth marriage. So you got to figure he needs some money right now.
Absolutely.
Because
man,
at the rate he's going, who knows? He could have 4 divorces also pretty soon. But we'll see how well he does down in Australia working with Hulk Hogan. He'll find out if his body can still take the beatings and if he's interested in doing that. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Ric Flair does in fact show up in a TNA. I mean, keep in mind, he lives down in North Carolina to work 3 or 4 days a month for TNA. It'd be a no-brainer for him.
Yeah, and I would like to see the way Steamboat was at WrestleMania. I would love to see Steamboat get back in the ring because you gotta. I thought Steamboat wasn't in shape. The way he was in the ring, but if Steamboat got back in the ring fully in shape, he could pull what Ric Flair pulled.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I mean, for guys like you and myself, and Frank and and Meathead, we would care about that. But the demographic that Vinnie Mac's company is going after right now, they look at Ricky Steamboat, they're like, who in the hell is this guy? And keep in mind when Ricky Steamboat showed up at WrestleMania for his match, that was about 15 years in the making. Where it took him, that was his first match in like 15 years. So he was ready to go.
Because he was working on getting his name.
Well, yeah, and plus, with his back injury as well. So I don't know if Ricky Steamboat has any more shelf life left.
Maybe a random, I think, independent appearance. Maybe Blizzard Brawl 6.
There you go. Jackson, thanks a lot for the phone call. Yeah, it's the demographic thing. There are people that did watch WrestleMania. Ricky, that sounds familiar.
And then
for us, it was like, wow,
he's bald now.
Right. But if you really want to watch Ricky the Dragon, WrestleMania 3, YouTube it. That's one of the amazing matches I think ever.
Any Ric Ric Flair Ricky Steamboat match is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Ricky Steamboat Randy Savage is amazing.
414-276-ESPN, 800-990-ESPN are the phone numbers. It's real quick here before we get to the top of the hour, go through the rest of Turning Point. Rhino and Team 3D defeated the Pope, Hernandez, and Matt Morgan.
I'm liking the Pope, by the way.
That's amazing to me.
I'm liking the Pope.
Yeah?
I'm liking the Pope a lot. He's a street pimp, kind of like me.
Yeah.
That's how I relate to it.
That's what I think when I look at you.
That's why I can relate to it, because I'm a street pimp.
In a no DQ match, Falls Count Anywhere, Scott Steiner was able to defeat Bobby Lashley.
Wow, if that's not a message to Bobby Lashley, I don't know what is.
Thank you, Bobby, for your time and effort.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Kurt Angle defeated Desmond Wolfe in probably one of the, at least where people are saying one of the greatest matches of the year, at least a top fiver. An amazing match to watch. Agree, disagree?
I didn't see it.
Wolf is here.
Oh, but you know what, though? Keep in mind, Kurt Angle also makes that a great match.
He made it a better match than it could have been. But
Absolutely.
give some credit out to Desmond Wolfe, a.k.a. Nigel.
Second hour of the Pro Wrestling Report coming up. We will talk about Survivor Series, your phone calls, and much more. Roddy Piper. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks. You see it, KYJ. Things have changed just a little bit since the last time you were here.
I think you should see your oculus. Nothing wrong with my feet. Oh, I'm talking about your eyes.
I can even make my ass do tricks. Watch this. You have any idea where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. This is WCW. That's right. Hold on.
For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Second hour of the Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN, ESPNMilwaukee.com. You can head over to PWRshow.com, hit the chatmosphere. You're about to say it, weren't you?
It's been a while. You know, I stopped doing it. It was a reflex. Did you see the reflex? I almost said chat sphere, but I gave up on that. It was boring. I stopped.
Meathead is here. That's him. David Hero is here. Fish is behind the glass, protecting us.
And as Damian does to you, and Damian Nelson, he's just not here. Because he does that to you. If you watch the product, he's like, Frank Cosentino, just not here.
That's all right. 414-276-ESPN, 800-990-ESPN are the phone numbers if you'd like to talk about Turning Point. You can also talk about the Survivor Series, which is coming up this Sunday on pay-per-view. But let's finish up about TNA's Turning Point. AJ Styles retains the TNA World Championship, defeats Daniels and Samoa Joe. Not a huge surprise there, at least from my end, but a great match. And again, a lot of people saying that this is one of the top matches of the year.
You know,
I don't know if I agree with that or not, but
we kind of dogged it. Damian, Dave, and myself, I think we kind of dogged it, saying, you know what, they're putting this match out. Daniels and Joe lost at Bound for Glory, and now the main event, or they're in a championship match, and we kind of dogged it, and they turned it out and got it done.
First of all, they should, because they've worked each other so many times. They should have that match in their sleep.
Just like we talk about the X Division guys, because that's who they work with, back and forth. By the way, how's your microphone smell?
You know what? This one is a lot better.
Dave Hero had to change seats. He's been sniffing his microphone cover and said it smelled like butt. I don't know what happened.
You know what? It's much better.
All right.
See the new studios, you get brand new microphones.
There you go. Overall, TNA's pay-per-view gets a thumbs up, not only from our callers in the first hour, but just on, and I only saw bits and pieces of it, so I can't say that the whole thing was great. But a caller earlier talked about momentum that TNA may need or believes that it could have based on what we saw. You have the Hogan stuff. You have a good pay-per-view. It gets everything kind of rolling. Agree, disagree? Or is it just that doesn't matter?
What? It creates buzz but it's up to Impact Thursday night to get the ball rolling.
Right. And unfortunately, again, Impact being a taped show,
we can't spoil. We're not doing it. Can't do it.
Dave Hero has learned not to spoil, but Impact being a taped show, we don't have the results available to us yet. But the point being that
I have the results available. I'm just not going to spoil it for you.
You've learned, Iron Chef. The point being that they could spoil it for you, and you could read the results and say, "Wow, I don't want to watch Impact." And then all the momentum, even though you haven't watched the show, it's down the toilet.
Not true, because there could be something that you saw in the spoilers that you want to see.
It's possible. It's possible.
It's a flip of the coin.
Let's go to the phones and speak to Mike from Tampa. Mike, you are on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Mike.
I just wanted to ask you guys a question. I don't know if you guys had just read this recently online. It actually just broke out, but I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts. Apparently, there's all this news coming out that TNA just signed Sid Vicious, and I just wanted to know if you guys had heard about that, and if so, what you guys think about it.
Well, it makes plenty of sense, as Dave was going to say. Go ahead.
Well, no. What was I going to say?
Oh, it makes sense because it's winter. Softball season's over.
Well, no. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. Sid always does that to get interest and to get a temperature as to what interest there is. Right now, he's overseas. He just worked at he's doing a tour over there with Scotty 2 Hotty, Rob Van Dam, Sabu, X-Pac.
Well, the thing is, too, that Sid has recovered from that leg injury that he had in WCW.
He's been long recovered from that. But I just don't see him coming into TNA.
Why not?
He's not a good fit.
Well, the only reason I ask is because WrestleZone just posted an article saying that they received an email from Sid's promotion group saying that he was joining TNA.
Until Damien hears it, it's not the truth.
Well,
no, don't go that far.
You know what? I like the guys at WrestleZone, but I could send them a letter saying Ken Kennedy just signed a letter with TNA. It's the same kind of thing.
His official MySpace also now has a bunch of TNA logos on it, too.
Right, but let's not forget that a few years ago, Chris Jericho also on his website had the big TNA logo on his. It's just a way of teasing.
It's a game.
And, it's all it is. It's all about posturing.
And as we've talked about before with like Hulk Hogan, for example, he's the ultimate promoter. He's getting himself out there.
Now, it could happen.
Yeah, they could have signed him, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Right now, TNA is tapped out financially.
Yeah, Hogan and Bischoff. That's a lot, and Anvil. That's a lot of money.
I mean, if Sid does come in, it may be for a short period of time to try to get somebody over, but I don't see them having any faith that Sid would even show up.
Mike, thank you for the phone call. 414-276-ESPN, 800-990 ESPN are the phone numbers. Let's switch organizations and talk about WWE and first talk about Raw.
Raw is war.
And Roddy Piper.
God bless Roddy Piper. God bless the Iron Sheik, too, for that matter.
Sheiky baby.
Did that surprise you?
Nah.
You probably knew, but I was surprised that he didn't. Obviously, it said Sheik. You can only say this.
But here's the thing: they brought Sheik in to run down Hulk Hogan. That's what they did.
Yeah,
that was the sole
100%.
reason for it.
He has the dolls, and he's trying to do it.
Cal even mentioned, like, hey, we have those. I'm like, yes, we do. Those are called collector's items. But think about it. They bring in the Sheik to run down Hulk Hogan to start the show, but yet throughout the show, they promote his DVD. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You surprised by that?
Hulk Hogan.
Not at all, because a lot of people are going to buy that DVD. It's Hulk Hogan. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
But Roddy Piper, God bless him, but you know what?
It's time, hey?
Boy. You know what?
He dyed his hair.
Vince McMahon buried him. I don't know if that's Vince's way of just getting back at Piper by calling him out there and just, literally buried him in the middle of the ring.
He made that mistake, which, it is live TV, but he said something, I've been in 30, he was supposed to say like 30 fights.
I've been in 30 car crashes, and I've been in 7,000 matches.
Right, and he reversed
it. Reversed it,
yeah. And then take that, and then reverse it.
And Vince kind of went into, he could have, he did bury him. I don't know if he buried him.
No, he said that, bad dye job, he looks terrible, Mother Nature hit him with the catcher's mitt face, the whole thing. And you know what? Piper had no comeback.
No.
Because you know what?
He was following script.
I
I don't think there was a script. I think it was
no. There was script.
I'm sure there had to be something. I'm sure they cleared a bunch of that stuff. But let's face it. I think Vince McMahon is even older than Piper.
Yeah.
And he does look, it's night and day. But of course, Piper is a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
But geez, Roddy Piper looks rough.
But verbally,
he looked like the Iron Sheik.
I thought verbally he wasn't that bad, but he wasn't very good.
He's lost a step.
Yeah, so what? Everybody loses steps.
Yeah, but Piper still thinks he's Roddy Piper.
That's tough.
Let's go to the phones and speak to Anthony in California. Anthony, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Hey there, guys.
Anthony.
Hey, Anthony.
Just want to talk about Raw. I admit Piper did someone get buried by Vince, but I think they were also setting up that maybe we can do this for WrestleMania, and they just tested it out.
Maybe.
I don't
think that could be a disaster.
The last Piper Vince interaction was at WrestleMania where Vince wrestled, did he wrestle Hogan? Yeah, I think it was Hogan. And then Zach Gowen came in, and that was the end of Piper in WWE.
And they just had Piper last WrestleMania.
With Mickey Rourke. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they want to go that direction again.
I think Piper's I don't think his body can take another match.
No.
But my favorite moment was the brawl between Orton and Kofi.
Yes, and we will talk about that.
About it
you know what? You know what?
Save it.
Save it.
All right, fine. Don't get hot about it.
Anthony, what did you thought it was good?
Oh yes, because I remember it was like in '97 where it was Austin who stunned McMahon and technically started the McMahon-Austin feud there in Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you told me to save it. I'm saving it.
Okay. Hey, hold on, Anthony. Thanks a lot for the phone call. When we come back, we will talk about that match specifically, then also go into Survivor Series, your phone calls, and much, much more. We're broadcasting live from the Time Warner Cable Studios in downtown Milwaukee. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Join the 540 ESPN text club today. Get details at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Voices in my head, they count to me, they understand, they talk to me.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. The man they call Meathead, David Hero.
No.
Got your rules and your religion.
He's the man they call Meathead, and I'm David Hero. Not the man they call Meathead, David
Again,
Hero.
you don't come to enough TV anymore, but apparently Dave has been able to work this out with Damien. Not your fault. But when you say the man they call Meathead, David Hero, there has to be either a gap and the man they call Dave Hero.
Yeah, there's too much confusion.
According to Dave Hero. Nobody else is confused, just Dave Hero.
I'll have to remember that.
There you go.
Just like you're listening to
the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. 414-276-ESPN. All over the world at 800-990-ESPN are the phone numbers. And let's go to those phones. And we'll speak to Derek in Waukesha. Derek, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, great. Derek.
Good. I just wanted to know, don't you guys think that, if at all anything, DX should turn heel? Wouldn't that just make things just a little bit more interesting?
They teased it last night.
Together?
Well, that's just my question. I mean, do we really want to see another? I mean, it wouldn't be bad to see another, I suppose, battle between the two of them. But at the same time, wouldn't it be better if it was together, though?
But the last one between those two was years ago. I mean, it was the SummerSlam. I
It's
just
been
don't
a
remember
while
the year.
since they've
You know
fought
what?
each other.
Maybe
but
if Shawn Michaels wants to retire, maybe it's against Triple H at WrestleMania.
I think so. And I think it's heel. I think it's heel Shawn Michaels.
No. Babyface Shawn Michaels.
No.
Oh yeah. Shawn
Dave
Michaels
Hero
can't be the heel.
Triple H can't be the heel.
They tried against Undertaker
Triple
to make
H
that
is a far
happen.
better heel than Shawn Michaels ever was.
It won't work anymore.
Oh, I think so. If Triple H gives the pedigree to Shawn Michaels, oh yeah, Shawn Michaels is the loved
That's
one.
all he has to do.
That's it.
Okay, but the other way around, would it work? If
Sweet Chin Music on Triple H.
No, because they will still cheer Shawn Michaels because he's more of the legend, more of the icon.
Because we've seen that. We've seen Shawn Michaels give a super kick to Hulk Hogan.
And
then go on Larry King dressed as Hulk Hogan.
And then with Undertaker, same thing, basically. So, yeah, see them together turning heel. I don't know if that would work right now.
Okay.
I don't know if they want to go that direction. But
I'm predicting.
Does he want to retire soon?
Well, how much more can his body take? You know?
And there's a talk that he's going to have another title run.
You know what? I think that his title run starts Sunday at Survivor Series.
Fail.
We'll go through that prediction in a little bit, but Derek, if
Fail?
Derek, who would you turn heel if you wanted to in that tag team?
Well, actually, to be honest with you, it would probably be Triple H would be the best, I think.
Yeah.
The turn. But
see.
Yeah, but do you think everybody wants to do that again? Because he was actually, I mean, when he
was the heel during that last match that they did at SummerSlam.
Yeah, but who remembers that?
Wrestling fans do.
Not everybody.
Not everybody, but wrestling fans do. So this time, make Shawn Michaels the heel.
No, that works.
Shawn Michaels will not be a heel again. It's just not in his makeup.
He wears makeup?
Yes.
Makeup.
Do you think, though, really, do you think that because of, how he's changed, do you think that was part of the reason why he can't be a heel?
No, because he played the heel with Hulk Hogan. He played the heel kind of with Undertaker.
A little bit with John Cena as well.
It's just that, put it this way, Shawn Michaels is a better babyface than he is a heel right now at this point of his career. And you would gain, put it this way, Triple H is almost twice the size of Shawn Michaels. How believable is it if Shawn Michaels keeps beating up Triple H from now until WrestleMania?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, it's not. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks, guys, very much
Derek.
for your time.
Thanks a lot for the phone call. Appreciate it. 414-276-ESPN, 800-990-ESPN.
There is theory involved in wrestling once in a while.
Sometimes.
Last night, we saw Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton.
Wow. I'm going to say...
Can we start, before we go into the brawl itself, can we start on the epic fail of Randy? I just saw it mentioned again in the chat atmosphere, but I noticed it too. Randy botched that spot where Kofi coming in. He botched.
It wasn't him. It was the guy running the soundboard.
Whichever.
He was late on the music. Everything's all timing.
Well, I understand everything's all timing production-wise. I understand that. I've run shows too.
So the guy in the truck screwed up.
But he shouldn't stop, turn, and look. He should be more professional.
You know what? In the moment, it happened.
So
I will say this. Kofi Kingston, I'm giving him his due. I'm impressed.
And it's white hot right now.
He's done a complete 180.
For you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I would say for most wrestling fans, he went from being the happy-go-lucky guy always smiling to now somebody that has some substance behind him.
Here's what I like about it. It's at least someone else.
Absolutely.
That's what we were waiting for, and it's starting to work. Now it's up to the WWE to keep it going. Credit Kofi Kingston to make it work. I think this feud can go on for a while.
He's running with it right now.
But at least it's not. Get him involved somehow every week in a main event, and you've got somebody new to talk about, and that's what the fans have been clamoring for a good 6 months now. It's like, oh, here we go, Triple H, here we go.
But it's all going to come down to Sunday on how they're going to book that match. Sunday. If they bury Kofi and company, well, then all this buildup is for nothing. And I know I said the same thing about the Turning Point pay-per-view with Kurt Angle and Desmond Wolfe.
Mm-hmm.
They got to be creative in how they're going to have the finish to that match.
Before the break, let's go to Sean in Vermont. Sean, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hi, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Sean. Pretty good.
I'm a first-time caller, so I'm actually really excited because I listen to you guys' show all the time.
Hey, appreciate it.
Thanks. I just wanted to bring up, I don't know if you guys have noticed on Raw lately, but the whole thing with Hornswoggle, I mean, I'm not a Hornswoggle marker or anything like that, but it just seems to me kind of, I don't know, opposite of what DX is supposed to be about.
I think last night may have been the end of Hornswoggle.
I do too.
That was the case the Spirit Squad got put in, except he got put on a DX stretcher.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know what you guys thought about that because when I think about that, it kind of annoys me because they're supposed to be a kid-friendly company now, and they all of a sudden
it's kid-friendly when it doesn't involve Triple H.
Right.
Yeah,
Triple H is against a grain.
Right, that's what I thought myself. But I mean, I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking to myself, well, they're kind of crapping all over, like Hornswoggle's acting like a kid would act. He's emulating DX, and now all of a sudden,
just like they do with
no.
Eugene.
And that was in the first hour, right?
It was
yeah.
towards the end of the first hour.
You would have thought for sure that would
that
have
was
happened.
Actually segment 2, I think it was.
So you would think that they would have had that in the second hour. But yeah, I was very surprised to see him get pedigreed. But at the same time, I'm thinking there is no way with everyone else they could put in DX that they're going to put a Hornswoggle in DX.
Right. I mean, I think that would kill the gimmick if they put Hornswoggle in there. But I just wanted to know what you guys thought as far as if that was killing the kid part of the business when they're basically pedigreeing the guy who mostly closely relates with kids.
Well, he only relates with kids because of his height. I mean, the guy's got the hair longer on his chin than he probably does his legs.
Right. I mean, like I said, I'm not a Hornswoggle marker or anything.
Have you seen his legs?
No, I'm talking about the size of his legs versus the size of the hair on his chin. I mean, have you seen his goatee?
Yeah.
It's still not big enough to get him on the rides at the amusement parks.
Sean, thanks for the phone call. Bowman and George, if you guys could hold on. When we come back, we'll take your calls. And, again, we'll go into Survivor Series and our predictions. Broadcasting live from the Time Warner Cable Studios. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Talk Packers all day long on 540 ESPN.
Hey, Frank, we told Fish a story last week about what Hacksaw did to you.
Smacked me once.
No. He damn near took the breath out of you.
Oh, he did that too.
Fish was excited about it. I don't know why. He just was.
Great story. Well, you got to share it now. Come on.
Well, me and I did.
You can't tease something like that.
Mm-hmm. Me and I did interviewed him a good 10 years ago, maybe. No.
I want to say it was 2001, right after WCW folded, XWF.
XWF. And we went into it, and all of a sudden he goes, before we get started or something, he just, I think he shakes your hand.
He goes, before we start this interview, we need to do something straight. And by the way, the video is available on PWRshow.com, but you can go ahead and take a look at that, and you see that he starts, we got to give a big old thumbs up, and he's sitting there strangling Frank's neck, and Frank's neck is wobbling like a bobblehead. He goes, give it a ho, and I give it a ho, and Frank goes, oh. Frank got to breathe.
There you go. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com, 414-276-ESPN, 800-990 ESPN are the phone numbers. And let's go to the phones and speak to Bowman from Boston. Bowman, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Bowman, what's happening?
I just wanted to, let Dave Hero know, just remind him that, Kofi's over.
He is over, and I'm admitting it.
No, just want to make sure you know, it's change from week to week.
Dave's not that guy. He will admit when he was wrong on a guy or when
I'm wrong,
his opinion has changed on a guy.
Just like how I predicted Alicia Fox would be the new Divas champion, I'm wrong on that, too.
Yeah.
Very disappointed. But, yeah, Kofi Kingston's a star right now.
And she didn't bump like Kurt Hennig tonight either.
Last night she did.
Whichever.
But did you see how high Kofi got on that jump?
Yeah.
He did. He got up there, and the crowd reaction was spectacular when it was done, so it was well done.
I picked up a Toy Fair magazine over the weekend to see all the different, figures that are coming out and whatnot. And they had the new line by Mattel. It shows all the new figures that they have coming out. And the ones that they focused on, of course, were Taker, Cena, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Legacy, Randy Orton, Batista, and then Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston.
Our new ones?
Were the ones that are like in the first wave.
Really?
So that right there should show you what direction they're going in.
They're marketable.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Evan Bourne with the epic peace sign.
Yeah.
Once you see the peace sign, it's all over.
There you go.
I wanted to give my opinion on Raw leading into Survivor Series. I think this Raw definitely was good and definitely had the energy that I think they were looking for it to deliver going into Survivor Series. I think pretty much most of the matches were pretty good. I think they opened up good with The Miz, and who got great heat going into with MVP, and I just wanted to, and anybody notice MIA the entire show was Legacy. That's automatically tell you where those guys stand now.
Yeah, they're just add-ons.
They may. This might be their.
Well, it's also the big
downfall,
Madison Square Garden show going into the big pay-per-view.
Right.
So shouldn't Legacy came out and maybe helped out Randy?
No,
there was
because
no explanation.
Are they even on the pay-per-view?
Yeah,
they're in one of the
here's
teams.
the thing: if Legacy
they're
comes
on
out,
team,
that's
how much I've paid attention to Legacy.
If Legacy comes out and helps Randy Orton, Kofi does not get over last night.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not. And I think they can take the Kofi and Orton thing, a lot further. I think they can take it into next year. Let's say they have a match, at the next pay-per-view or something like that, and Orton somehow, sneaks out and wins, but they still, wins in some controversy. They still fight. They can take it into the Royal Rumble and even, maybe as far as No Way Out or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a solo spot in the Royal Rumble, not in a singles match, but in the Rumble match itself. I think a solo spot for them for a couple of minutes would be nice.
For who?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Kofi versus Randy Orton. Because Randy won't have the belt, and Kofi
Randy
won't have the belt.
will not be in the Rumble. He'll have his own match.
You sure?
Of course.
Why wouldn't he be in the Rumble? Has Randy ever won the Rumble before?
I don't know if he's won or not, but I mean.
So why not?
Won last year.
Because
he won this past year.
He won this past year. That's right.
But right now, Randy doesn't need to win the Rumble to go to WrestleMania.
Where you would say pay attention to the product.
It's my first day.
Wow. Thank you, Bowman. That was tremendous.
Bowman, thanks for the phone call.
I think that's where we have Fish cut you off. No, Bowman, what else you got?
That's pretty much it. I didn't get a chance to see Turning Point. I mean, unfortunately, when I watch TNA, they don't get me engaged enough to order the pay-per-views. I feel that they're still booking this sort of this crash TV way about going about things, and it can be very okay TV. But the problem is that you don't know what's going on. I can watch TNA every week, 4 weeks leading up to a pay-per-view, and know maybe 3 of the matches that are actually happening on the show. They're going to be happening on the
I agree, because they change it all the time.
They need to slow down the show just a little bit, or have Control Crash TV where they're doing maybe not as many, they're doing like 5 or 6 storylines in a 2-hour feed. Maybe they need to focus it down to maybe 2 or 3 storylines that they're focusing on, and then just kind of add the filler matches in between, so that going into a story why I should care about why should I care about Daniels, AJ Styles, and Samoa Joe.
And maybe that's where another TV show would help out, because you could put other storylines on the other show.
Yeah, and my other beef is that I'm really comparing now the booking of AJ as heavyweight champion to when Ray was heavyweight champion, and AJ is looking worse. And I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, the 3 of us are shaking our heads at each other going, yeah.
I mean, how do you mess up? To me, I don't know how TNA is messing up with it. To me, what I thought was their golden boy, where they really did have a chance. They're finding a way to mess it up to the point where I feel like AJ is getting a less and less reaction from the fans than he did at the beginning of this year.
Remember, the focus now was on Hogan, waiting for Hogan to show up. And even though AJ was the main event against Daniels and, Samoa Joe, AJ didn't look that strong in that match.
Do you know where TNA dropped the ball? Was with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Because he's marketable, he's got a great look, and they didn't use him properly. I think they should have put the belt on Bobby Lashley and just, try to develop some of those other heels to chase after him for a little bit. Right now, AJ is no pun intended, he's phenomenal. He's a great
Where's
worker.
my bell at? We just moved and I don't have my bell around.
But the thing is that right now, I hate to say it, AJ is a transitional champion. After the first of the year, TNA is going to go into a completely different direction, and I don't think AJ Styles will be king of the mountain.
You will see. Bowman, thanks a lot for the phone call. Let's continue and go to George in Washington, D.C. or Washington State? George, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, how's it going? I've been listening to you guys for a while.
Okay, what's up?
I was just wondering, here a little bit ago, my son was on YouTube on a different computer, and he came across a press conference that Hulk Hogan had today where Ric Flair flipped out and bloodied him up. And
probably the Hulkamania tour.
Yeah, it was pretty funny how Eric Bischoff and guys at first were laughing, and then they started freaking out. And they were like, "What are you doing?" And it was basically all about a girl. Flair said his classic Space Mountain line, and he swung at Hogan, and they said it looked legit because it was, I guess, the video was not on a sports show; it was on the news. And I was just wondering, what do you guys think about that with the rumors with how Hogan and Bischoff they are with TNA and that supposedly Flair might go there and then he might not? What do you guys think?
Well, I'm sure if that did happen with that press conference and whatnot, that it's a way of selling more tickets for the Australia tour because from what I've heard, ticket sales have been extremely soft and rather disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were able to, cut a promo that got on the news down under, it's just a way of selling tickets.
Regular mainstream media.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny that you haven't heard a lot about either. And I'm going to throw in a shameless plug here that Hulk Hogan is the ambassador for Movember, the mustache growing charity that happens in November, which the man they call me is a part of. That's something that should be also helping cross promote, promote Hogan's wrestling tour, promote that Hogan is the ambassador from Movember, back and forth. Because that's where Movember started, was in Australia.
George, thanks a lot for the phone call. Yeah, those I haven't seen the video that he's referring to, so I can't make judgment on it. But
well, let's pull it up, during the break and see if we can see what's going on there.
Let's go back to what happened on Raw.
Iron Sheik.
Sheik baby.
Sheik baby.
I was kind of surprised to see him, but it was kind of neat to see him back there for a minute or two. But the overall show, as someone had brought up, it is New York. It's it's a place that they will.
It had a great feel.
It had a great feel.
It felt like I was watching a pay-per-view.
And
the crowd was hot.
But the question that we always ask, did that show do enough for those people on the fence? I'm going to now get Survivor Series.
Absolutely. Survivor Series is like WrestleMania. It's like Royal Rumble and SummerSlam. You're going to order it. If you're going to order the pay, for a year, it's those four. And I think that they did enough as far as building up. I think what people are going to buy it for is the Kofi Kingston Randy Orton match. Those two teams. Because you know what? It's like, wow, someone finally got the best of Randy Orton. That never happened.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, for me, I didn't even miss the Titantron last night.
I did.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Hey, I don't think it was needed. I think just the
And it's not like they don't use it at Madison Square Garden before, because when they showed all these classic clips that they kept showing over and over and over from Madison Square Garden, there's been ramps there.
Well, right, but I'm just saying I didn't miss it. I thought it had a better, almost a more intimate feel.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it.
It was obviously Michael Cole brought it up at least 4,000 times.
In the main event.
If you were playing a drinking game and he talked about the attendance, you would have gotten plastered by it the first half hour.
At the Madison Square Garden.
Michael Cole, you know what? He's just burnt out.
He's got to be. He's been running 10-plus years. And that's week after week.
He hasn't been the same ever since that Heidenreich incident.
You got to stop perpetuating that.
When we come back, we will finish up our talk on Raw. A little news on Brock Lesnar for those of you that didn't hear about it. We'll also give our prediction for Survivor Series. That's all coming up. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Still time for you to call in at 414-276-ESPN. All over the world at 800-990-ESPN. PWRshow.com. What are some people what have they talked about on the Chatmosphere?
I feel AJ Styles as the X Division champion by February. Ooh, that's a step down for him, don't you think?
About the same
level.
That press conference was probably at work. I still haven't found it yet. Somebody in the Chatmosphere, if you could put up the search criteria so I can look up the video. Yeah, great Raw with a vintage overrun. Ha. I agree with you, Meathead. That's good enough for me.
Hey, all it takes is one, and then you're happy.
We're talking about what happened on Raw last night. Let's go to the phones and speak to Will. He'd like to talk about Raw. Will, in New Jersey, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
What's up, guys? How you doing tonight?
Hey, pretty good, Will.
Yeah, I was actually supposed to go to that Raw, but there was a ticket issue. But I was actually supposed to be there, and it's kind of disappointing because that was probably would have been. I went to Hell in a Cell, and this would have been better than Hell in a Cell. That Raw.
Absolutely would have been.
On TV, it came over. I thought it was great.
You know, I mean, I thought one of the best parts about the whole show was the actual Madison Square Garden package with WWE and the combination of Jay-Z's song. I thought that was phenomenally done.
Ding.
To pay tribute to MSG, I thought that was great too.
Yeah, it like Dave mentioned, it had a pay-per-view feel to it. Again, you credit the MSG crowd for making that happen, but it did have a pay-per-view
and you know
feel
what's
to
cool? They didn't run down the guys that are in TNA.
Except for Hogan.
Well, no, but when they showed that package, you know, they showed Hogan.
They showed Kurt Angle.
They showed Kurt Angle. They showed Nash. You know, they showed the guys that are no longer with the company, and they didn't show them all looking stupid.
No, I totally agree with that. But one thing, yeah, well, I mean, that was
with the Sheik. Yeah, that was in the beginning.
The Sheik was playing with the action figures. Where was the glass of red wine in the bathtub?
Listen, but when they did the video package, they made Hogan look good.
They did
because they have a DVD to sell. That's why.
Well, it's also that was a big part of history when Hogan won that title. That was like the moment WWE changed its entire company.
It did
from that point forward.
I agree.
You know, and one other thing too is what I also noticed was when Kofi did that spot. I think that if it was in another area, it probably would never got as a loud reaction as it did compared to when you go to the Garden. So to me, it's like they ended that correctly because now I am going to watch Survivor Series just because of that.
Will, have you been in the Garden before?
I've been there many times. Yeah,
I've never been. What from the outside, is there a special feeling when you walk in there? And go, this is pretty cool.
Absolutely, every time.
You get it every time, yeah.
Every time.
You know what, Frank? I was there for WrestleMania 20, and you know when you went to go see the Packer games when Reggie White was still at the Packers. And then the jet planes would fly overhead, and you get the goosebumps. That's the feeling you get at Madison Square Garden.
Really? And it's a shame for me because I actually was at Madison Square Garden. Unfortunately, nothing was going on at the time because I was passing through Penn Station.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been to 10, I've been to 20, I've been to SummerSlam, Survivor Series when Brett and Austin. Every time you go to a show there is always something about it that.
Well, I tell you, the crowd was hot at that Royal Rumble a couple of years ago when Cena returned. And you know what? The face of the guy in the corner, as Cena was coming out and going, "Oh, no, not Cena, no."
It seems like the guys step up their game when they go to Madison Square Garden.
Because they know that's Vince's home theater.
It's also the barometer of the wrestling world.
To them. Again, that East Coast bias that we talk about.
Is.
It's not. Because the entire country is the barometer.
No,
the Internet is part of the barometer.
No, that's a small portion.
It's a part of it.
If it gets over in New York, it gets over anywhere.
That's not true.
Will, thank you for the phone call.
I'm not even going to buy into that East Coast bias thing that, the sports, medias and all that other do. I don't buy into it.
To me, there are three towns that, for whatever reason, the crowds are hot. MSG, Chicago, and Dallas.
Dallas?
Yes. Yeah, it just, whether you go to YouTube or whatever, when the next time they go to Dallas, whatever it is in that area, they love their wrestling. The fans get into it.
Dallas is also what is a big wrestling town.
It is, sure.
Devon and Eric's world-class
So
wrestling.
is San Francisco.
But they don't do anything special on the West Coast.
Okay, but what I'm saying is you're telling me that only in New York at Madison Square Garden is
when
special,
Vince McMahon,
but when they go to Chicago, it's not special.
When Vince McMahon wants to test a product and wants to get a crowd reaction, he will do it in Madison Square Garden because he knows those are the most loyal fans he has, and they're the most honest.
So are the Chicago fans, and I don't like the city of Chicago, but to be honest, it's a hot show every time they go to Chicago.
They don't experiment in Chicago.
Sure they do. They brought out Y2J in Chicago.
That wasn't an experiment.
Yeah, it was. That was his debut. That was the testing. That was the – I mean, you're telling me if it wasn't hot Chicago that it would have kept on going the way it was going?
You know what? Chris Jericho was coming in, and they were giving him a good push no matter what he's going to do.
But what if his reaction was in Chicago? It was just kind of
This is going nowhere.
Would you put Philadelphia in that same grouping?
Yes.
Because of all the history he had of the Spectrum in the 80s?
Matter of fact, Philadelphia was in ECW
East Coast
tonight.
bias is for real then.
It is for real, but Chicago matters as well.
And it's not as strong as the East Coast.
But ECW and SmackDown this week are in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Thank you, Sheiky Dave. Frank, take over the ship
Still
again.
time for your 414-276-ESPN 800-990 ESPN. We'll get into our Survivor Series predictions in a minute. However, we want to bring up what's going to happen next week on Raw. The governor, Jesse Ventura, is the guest host. It's a 3-hour special.
It's going to be a huge Raw next week.
A 3-hour show.
What city are they in? Do you know?
Next week?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't.
Hoboken.
Well, it's probably East Coast. I mean, they're doing New York.
Hello,
Philly.
Cleveland.
Scranton.
Usually a 3-hour Raw.
3-hour Raw.
It's going to be all brands.
Yeah.
Raw, SmackDown, ECW.
It'll be all of them. There's probably, obviously, whatever happened the night
Fall
before.
off from the pay-per-view.
But it's Ventura.
That's nothing different than it's Piper.
You don't think?
No, it's
Slaughter.
different because
It's not
Jesse
different.
Yes, it is, because Jesse is far more mainstream than Piper or Sergeant Slaughter.
It won't make a difference.
All right.
You don't think so?
And I don't buy into your all right. It's just going to be all right.
No, really. All right, you're wrong. I mean,
no. I'm right or am I wrong?
Sure.
What is it?
Am I
right?
Wrong.
Am I right?
No, I said all right. I didn't say you were right. I said all right. No, I mean, because
all right. Why don't you think it's not going to work?
Because
or it's not going to be
anybody else
special?
that you've had any kind of interest in, any kind of special. Oh, I can't wait till this special guest comes out. Kind of been.
Slaughter was a failure. Piper was a semi-failure. Jesse is going to be entertaining.
He'll be a semi-failure.
He'll be better than the last two guys. He'll be better than Slaughter.
All right,
and better than Piper.
let's go over it this way.
It's going to be in. Thank you, Fish. It's going to be in Hershey, PA.
Okay, who's going to be
Chocolate City?
Who was the best host so far? Thank you, Fish. By the way,
Ricky Hatton. I don't know.
See, that's what I'm saying. All the hosts have been fails.
Bob
so
Barker.
Bob
Barker
was the best.
No,
one of the best.
You just said all of them were failed.
No, I'm going off of what Dave just said.
Because I don't have the list in front of me.
Just do you remember in the back of your mind that entertained you?
Jeremy
Piven. If you can't come up with a name,
all right, we
that
have
means
Jeremy
they didn't
Piven.
Piven was rather
you.
entertaining. I thought he was decent.
It's Bob Barker.
All right.
Bob Barker.
One of the worst was Sharpton.
ZZ Top was the worst.
ZZ Top.
That was pretty bad.
Without a doubt.
Sharpton wasn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
Hatton was awful, too, except for his...
Hatton served his purpose.
Yeah.
Freddie
Prinze was pretty bad, too. Freddie Prinze was pretty bad. I enjoyed Ozzy.
But Jesse will show up on MSNBC and CNN and Fox News.
But what does that mean for the show? I'm not talking about what he's doing on the other side.
No,
I'm talking about the
big
show.
for the show because
no, I didn't say
relevant.
for the show. I said on the show. Listen to the details that I'm giving to you.
He'll be the governor. He'll be the law. He'll enforce the rules.
But how is that entertaining?
It could be.
But they're not.
It could be entertaining. It could not be entertaining.
You're already saying you're not even giving it a chance.
What I'm gonna watch it because this is what my job is.
No, he's just slamming everything that I'm saying about it.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you to be a valid point. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
I'm both. I'm right and happy because I know he's going to be successful because he's going to bring in the fans that haven't watched in 10 years.
No, he's not.
Yes, he will.
No, he's not. Ventura is going to draw extra viewers on the name Ventura.
I bet you the Ventura show next week will have better ratings than Slaughter or Piper.
Well, that could be skewed. It's coming off of a
pay-per-view.
And it's also a 3-hour
show. Hold on, but you're also coming off a huge main event on Raw last night.
That's true.
From
Has
Madison
nothing
Square
to
Garden.
do with the Ventura.
Yes, it does.
We shall see. When we come back, we'll go through our Survivor Series predictions.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
If Ventura wasn't important, why would they pick him for the 3-hour Raw?
Because it just happens to time itself out with the debut of his new TV show.
They could have picked anybody else to put, that.
Because
it was going to be Hogan. To be honest with you,
he has a speaking engagement at the Hershey plant.
It was gonna be Hogan to pimp the new DVD, but apparently Hogan signed with another company.
Hershey's coming out with a new kiss, and it has Ventura's name on it. Survivor Series predictions coming up. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Final segment of the Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. It's one of the big four. It's Survivor Series. It's coming up this Sunday. Let's go through some of these matches. Team Mickey versus Team Michelle meet.
They're calling her MC Cool now. MC Cool.
Really?
Yeah. That Striker kept doing it over and over. MC
Your winner.
Cool. My winner, chicken dinner. MC Cool's team.
Dave, what do you think?
I'm trying to think who I picked.
On the TV show?
Yeah, we taped that this morning. I'm going to go with MC Cool.
I'm going to go with Team Mickey. Team Morrison's taking on Team Miz. Meet.
Oh,
Team Miz.
This is a no-brainer. Absolutely Team Miz.
Team Miz for me, too. Team Kingston against Team Orton.
Team Orton.
No, I'm taking the Nation version 2.
I'm taking a DQ.
You can't DQ in a Survivor Series match, Frank.
There will be a DQ.
You can't do it. There's no DQ in the match.
All right, I'm going with Kingston.
Thank you.
What you just said is one of the most insanely
Ray
idiotic things
versus
I've ever
Batista.
heard.
That's a DQ.
No, that's Batista squashing Ray.
Yeah, it's
Ray's
a DQ.
taking some time off for a while.
I'll take Batista here also. Cena, Triple H, HBK.
Cena retains.
I'm taking the Heartbreak Kid.
I am also going with the Heartbreak Kid on this one.
See, Frank, that's why you are who you are. You're smart.
Taker, Show, Y2J. Triple threat.
Let me give it Taker. Unfortunately, I want Y2J, but give me Taker.
No, yeah. I think Undertaker leaves with the title.
I'm going to go with Taker also. However, which one's going to be the last match of the evening?
Main event's Triple H, Shawn Michaels, John Cena.
Oh, yeah, hands down. They got to solve those damn glow sticks. It's all about the glow sticks.
We want to thank all the callers this evening for calling in. Damien will be back next week. Check PWRshow.com for schedule for next week's show. And we will go through what happened at Survivor Series and anything else that comes up, and also everything that...
Don't forget there's PWR TV coming up tomorrow on the site. You're going to be able to get interactive, solid 30 minutes of your emails, and Friday, prime time, Survivor Series preview.
Sounds good. For the man they call Meathead.
And Hero. There
David
you go.
Hero. And Fish behind the glass.
Thank you, Fishy.
Doing a fantastic job.
The man that swims upstream.
Protecting us. And these new studios, which are absolutely... This is
Studios
awesome.
are great, but the miscreants.
I love all the walk-by traffic.
Yeah, the miscreants on the streets.
You listen to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.